You're listening to HowStreet.com radio, available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. Welcome to HowStreet.com radio, the online source for market opinions. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Chris Marchese, mining analyst for the Morgan Report, which you can find online at silver-investor.com. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Great to be back, Jim.
Well, President Obama making headlines again. Apparently, he's going to cost business big time, cost the average person a lot. Chris, maybe explain what he's done that's probably going to hurt the U.S. economy a lot.
He's trying to block inversion practices, which it might help, the economy in the short run, or the perception that it is helping, in that tax revenues will be higher in the short run. But in the medium and long run, it's going to cause companies to move their headquarters overseas just because of competition. I mean, the job of a company is to maximize shareholder value, and the logical thing to do is to move to a place that has lower statutory tax rates. And you'll see people like the Carl Icahns in the world, buying up large minority ownerships of companies to do just that. And that's a smart thing to do. It's kind of analogous to the Laffer curve in that, there's a certain tax rate that's beneficial, but once you start taxing beyond a certain rate, it's detrimental. And Obama doesn't realize this, obviously. And, this is just another one of the destructive policies he's enacted through his 2 terms, and zero constructive policies. Most people know the other major policy, in the future it'll be known as the Unaffordable Health Care Act. And I mean, socialized healthcare has proved not to work in so many countries. I don't know how, it got passed here, but, it's unfortunate, and hopefully people will, grow a backbone and either stop voting or speak up for a change in the U.S. And another thing is we got the U.S. war machine added again now in Iraq, and that goes along with anything to spend more money, I guess, right? Every government's trying to do so, it seems like.
Well, if he had left Saddam alone, none of these problems with ISIS would be happening.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the Americans who gave them the weapons to fight against the Syrian dictatorship, but now those weapons are being used in Iraq against forces trained by the U.S.
I know, it's really disturbing, and it's the U.S. It almost seems like we're ecstatic to get involved, to use our military-industrial complex at any chance there is. We think we're policing the world. We're really the bad guys.
Palladium continues its massive charge.
Yes, this morning I saw it. I think it was around $8.94, so it's pushing $900 an ounce. When we first were talking about it earlier this year, it was only, I think, around $7.10. So that's a pretty big move. I think that and zinc have been the best performing commodities this year, and now kind of got lucky in making those 2 calls. So, that's been a bright spot.
Well, Chris, it wasn't really luck. You explained something about zinc that most people didn't know. You were the first one to mention it.
Yeah, I mean, both have very good fundamentals, but the timing is always a big problem with those types of calls.
But Chris, why is zinc on its way up?
It's mostly a supply issue because a lot of the world's largest primary zinc mines have shut down and have started contracting and will be shutting down through 2017. And the demand just keeps growing as even if it's artificial growth, like we've seen in in the global economy since 2008 with governments just inflating the supply of money and credit. I'll go off on a slight tangent. The U.S. now has a record amount of debt, that is government debt and private debt, which totals 60 trillion now, which is just unbelievable. And that was only attainable because of just such reckless monetary policy in the U.S. I mean, nothing's changed since 2008. Capital requirements aren't any different, even though the Fed says, oh, everything's all unwell now, but it isn't. There was no deleveraging. Maybe there was for 6 to 8 months following the crisis, but credit's at an all-time high. The money supply is at an all-time high. It's just the next collapse, which will definitely be related to the U.S. dollar, is coming closer and closer as, nothing is changing, and that's a big problem.
Another thing that we can look forward to is a brand new book. David Morgan, the founder of the Morgan Report, yourself and his senior analyst, David Smith, have been toiling away on hundreds of pages of information all about silver. Maybe tell us a bit about the book and when you expect it to be released.
It should, we finished it, so released, it should be anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks. It should be published. And, David Morgan and I have been working on it for 3 months now and putting in some crazy hours. So, it was painful at times, especially the second and third month. But, now we're really looking forward to it, because we think it turned out really well. And, it's very unique, in the sense that it's unlike any other book on silver or gold in terms of all the aspects it covers. We go through the history of silver as money, going back 5,000 years to the 20th century. The supply and demand fundamentals. The demand fundamentals will surprise a lot of people because, as you and I were talking about before the show, silver was way ahead of its time in terms of its use in industry because it was only really used for photography until the tech revolution, at which time its characteristic as the best conductor of heat and electricity were finally exploited. And it's only been about 20 years, and that's not much time in the big scheme of things for it to grow. So another 10, 20 years down the road, industrial consumption should be, incredibly high and outstrip total supply. So, imagine that effect on prices, and, you get the picture. Then we go through money and banking, give a little background just to kind of explain the current economic situation and the bubble that's blowing up, and the one that will pop next, which is the debt bubble, and in turn, currency bubble, the fiat bubble. And then the last part is how to profit from this, but more so how to protect your wealth.
And for regular listeners, our This Week in Money show, which airs also on AM 1150 in Kelowna, it's all about silver. The technical aspects, how you can make money on it, where you find it, how high technology has affected the exploration for silver. It's going to be a silver-plated show. Chris, thanks a lot for being our guest.
My pleasure.
Chris Marchese, mining analyst for the Morgan Report, which you can find online at silver-investor.com. You're listening to HowStreet.com radio. You can find us on Twitter at TalkDigitalNet. You can forward comments to info@HowStreet.com. I'm Jim Goddard.
Comments made on HowStreet.com radio are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any matter whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. HowStreet.com radio is a production of HowStreet Media Incorporated.